Hi friends. I'm going to make a video today talking about cream makeup, and I decided to make a video on this topic because I'll be honest, whenever I first tried mascara, I was completely new to cream makeups, and in the past what I had used pretty much since I ever first started using makeup, whenever I was a teenager, I always started out with a liquid foundation, and then I would use powders, like setting powders, and then eventually I switched to like the mineral makeups, and I used a few different brands, but like the mineral makeup it looks like a powder, but whenever you start rubbing it on your face, it kind of transitions to like a creamy texture. And although like I mean it wasn't like I didn't like using those, but whenever I first switched over to a cream makeup, it was kind of a completely new way of doing makeup for me. So I kind of had to figure it out. And so pretty much for this video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of using a cream makeup. And so I'm not going to bash any other ways of or any different types of makeup in this video, but I'm just going to talk to you about my experience. So let me give you a little bit of a lowdown on my skin type. So anybody who knows me knows that I have always had skin problems basically since I was 15. I'm 32 now. I've always had acne problems. And see, look, my skin's all dry right now. So the biggest issue that I've had is narrowing down what is causing it. And once you get to be like 32, it's like, oh, is this still a teenage hormone problem? Well, no, I'm 32. And so I've tried to treat it with multiple different things, countless visits to the dermatologist. So I've been on pretty much any prescription you can think of except Accutane, because I'm scared to death of Accutane. And so my skin type is oily but dry. I don't know how else to explain it. And mostly the dryness comes from using topical medications. So right now I do use Retin-A, and what that does is it speeds up your skin's exfoliating process. So my skin is often raw and red and dry and cracking, so you can see where I use it the most. You know what though? Since I've incorporated a diet change, I've eliminated most dairies, and that's helped significantly. I used to get very big, painful ones on my chin, and so those went away whenever I cut out most dairy. Now I still have cheese. I still might have, I don't know, like if there's dairy that's snuck into food or, you know, in soup or something, I don't make a big deal out of it, but I was using a lot of heavy cream. I was using a lot of half and half in my diet, and just cutting those out seemed to help quite a bit. But right now what I still seem to be struggling with is hormonal acne, so I am on a new supplement that seems to be helping it. So I'm actually pretty pleased. I know like some of you are like, oh man, her skin probably still looks terrible, but comparatively to what it has been looking like the past couple of years, this is actually pretty good. So while I'm talking, I'm going to be putting my setting spray on with my Perfector. So I have dry but oily skin. So that's kind of interesting because it's like, well, if you have oily skin, why would you want to use a cream makeup? Because whenever you dry out oily skin, sometimes that's the reason why you have oily skin in the first place, is because your skin makes more oils to compensate for the dryness. And so if you moisturize your face, sometimes that actually cuts down on the oil. But the good thing with using cream makeups, is that whenever you do feel like it's getting too oily, it's very easy to just go and dab it with a paper towel, and it's very easy to touch your makeup up again. So in the past, whenever I used like a liquid foundation and then set it with a powder, it's really hard to fix it if it gets messed up, because you have two layers of two different textures of makeup on your face. With a cream, it all kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's very easy to fix because it stays soft on your skin. So if it smudges or something, you can really literally just like dab it and fix it. So that's not a big deal. And since my skin is dry, thanks to topical medications, it keeps my skin moisturized all day, which actually makes it less oily. Interesting, huh? I know, skin is so complicated. Oh my gosh. Story of my life, skin issues, always. So I've got my Stay Setting Spray, and it's good to use before. You can use it after. I found that I like the results of my makeup whenever I put it on first and then afterwards. So right now, my skin, yeah, I did have some coconut oil on my face, which I use as a moisturizer. I try to not use a bunch of synthetic crap on my face. The only thing that I use to take off my makeup and to moisturize my face right now is coconut oil. And so anyway, I'm going to show you kind of like how a cream makeup behaves on your skin. So if you look at, like, I'm going to use my palette and it's all used up, so like don't judge. I know it looks all used. So my palette, so I'm going to start out with my normal skin tone color, which we refer to as the highlight in this brand. So it's kind of firm, and I guess, like, think of it as what unfractionated coconut oil looks like. It's like a liquid, or I mean, sorry, it's like a solid, and then as it warms up, it starts to soften and liquefy. So it's kind of like that, except it softens up at a higher temperature than coconut oil. So when you first put it on your skin, it'll be like, this stuff is thick and pasty. But as it sits on your skin, it softens up, and it kind of like starts to blend in with your skin. So I'm going to start off with my forehead, okay? So I'm going to be looking in my mirror instead of... Okay, so right now, I don't know if you can really pick up the detail on this. But when you start adding colors and creams onto your skin, initially it doesn't always look blended. But the trick with cream makeup is that as you start adding it on your skin, it softens up, and you go back and you blend it after you've put everything where you want it. So you can put your highlighter where you want it, which is what I'm doing right now. Okay? And so look at this coverage. Like, I don't have super crazy under eye circles or anything for that. Honestly, like, most of my complaints on my skin is just breakouts. But so the coverage is actually pretty good. And I prefer to do an all-over uniform color. Not everybody puts their highlighter all over their face, but I like to, because I like to have one even skin tone to start with. And because I'm like red all the time, it covers up the redness. Although for the most part, like, I think my skin is actually in pretty good condition. The Retin-A does help with fine lines and wrinkles and stuff, but it's not really why I use it. So I'm gonna keep adding this on, and then as I start putting on my contour, you'll see that it looks like it's like, oh, that's still super obvious that it's there. But as you go back after it softens on your skin, it's really easy to blend, and all of the colors work together. So like whenever I was using, let's say for example, whenever I was using the mineral makeup, I'd put it on my skin, and it would start out as a powder, and then it would gradually soften up on my skin and kind of turn into a cream. But then I would go back and I would use a powder contour, a powder setting, like a setting powder, and then I would also have to use a powder blush. And so I was piling on different textures onto my skin, and that's why I always looked cakey in the past. Now, I'm a high coverage girl because of my skin issues, like I've said. Some people, hey, if you got great skin and you just go with a light coverage, or if you just put on makeup just to add some popping colors on your face, hey, that's cool. You know, we're all different, but I prefer a high coverage. And also because I use Retin-A, I have to have something like a barrier on my skin all the time, because you burn a lot easier in the sun if you don't have some kind of protectant on your skin throughout the day, and you're a lot more sensitive to things. And so yes, I do prefer high coverage, and you know, to each their own, but that's me. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing, piling it on. And I like it because with the mineral makeup that I was using, I used high coverage with it, but it looked cakey because I had the mineral makeup on. Then I had all these powders because I was like, oh, my skin's so oily. I'm going to put all these powders on. And then it made any wrinkles that I had really obvious. And I don't know, it didn't look real. It looked pretty good in pictures, but in real life, it was like, it was scary, but I was too insecure to not have high coverage on because of all my skin issues. And so, okay, you can see it's pretty good coverage and it neutralizes all my redness. But I don't feel like I have a ton of crap on my face. That's nice because I like high coverage, but I don't like feeling like I'm drowning in makeup or that my face is just plastered. So with cream makeup, it does make wrinkles and fine lines less obvious. So I'm going to explain why. When you put on a liquid foundation and then a setting powder, what that does is it hardens your makeup, okay? And so as the muscles in your face move throughout the day, like my spots that I get, I have like this surprise look all the time, okay? Or like the angry lines there. If I would put liquid and then powder on top, it would harden it, and so it wouldn't move with my skin and with my face muscles throughout the day. So it made my wrinkles more obvious. I don't know if that makes sense. So with a cream, it kind of like settles in to the wrinkles, and it's really easy to just fix throughout the day if you do notice, or if you feel like it's making your wrinkles more obvious. So something else that I don't know, like a lot of the tutorials now on makeup, everybody's like into this baking with powders where you get all your makeup where you want it, and then you put setting powder on the spots where you want it to stay the longest throughout the day. So they'll like put powder on there and here and like right under here and just leave it for like 10 minutes and then brush off the excess. And what I've learned is that kind of makes wrinkles more obvious. And I completely quit using any kind of setting powder under my eyes, which helped for me. I mean, you can try it, and if it's not for you, hey, that's fine. Go away with your setting powder. But something else that I've noticed, and this is taking me forever to do my makeup today because I'm sitting here talking to you. Trust me, it doesn't take me forever to do my makeup every day. So the thing, some people are wondering, like, okay, so how do you take it off whenever you're done at the end of the day? And like I said, the only things that I use on my face to take off my makeup and to moisturize my face is coconut oil. Sometimes I'll use fractionated, sometimes I won't. It just depends. Fractionated costs a bit more. But I don't know, I've used both and it doesn't seem to make a difference. So what I do whenever I take it off, I've got one of these things, they're silicone, and it's got soft bristles, so I can't be super abrasive on my skin because my skin is sensitive and I've already got Retin-A treatment on my face. So what I do is I get liquid coconut oil in my hand and I start just massaging it onto my face at the end of the day. And it'll just kind of soften it up, and you'll start to see that, it comes off with that. And so I'll go through and I'll massage my face with this for a few minutes and just loosen it up, and then it wipes right off. So you can use a microfiber towel if you want. I just use, like buy a pack at wherever, and just go back and wipe it off and be soft when you wipe it off. And that's how I take it off, and it's that easy. So, okay, now that I've got my all over color, I'm gonna start to add on my contour color. So, put on my contour color right there. So I got a line. Colt calls this like my war paint. Whenever I get all my colors on before I blend, like war paint. Funny. So I'm just dotting it on, dabbing it. So obviously I put contour on the spots that I want to recede on my face. So there we go. So it's not blended. And I'm going to let it sit on my face for just a little bit. So it's really easy to blend whenever I go back. All right. I contour my nose. Not everybody does, but I like it. I think it looks better. I don't know, in the past before I started contouring my nose, I'd always put on makeup and be like, well, my nose just looks like it's washed out. And I don't know, I never liked how my nose looked before I started contouring. I mean, it looks fine as it is. It's not like I hate my nose, but I think it looked funny whenever it would have just one color on it. I don't know. Okay, so I've got all those colors on. So I'm going to start with where I put it on first because it's been on my skin the longest. So it's softening up with the warmth of my skin. And I'm going to use this end of my 32nd hack brush. So I got that one. I honestly don't use this one very often unless I'm going back and putting even a lighter color here, but I don't feel like I need to use that today. So I'm going to go back and blend. You can see how that makes a difference. So the color is still there, but you don't have like direct lines on your face. Doesn't make it look muddy or dirty or like you've got a billion layers piled onto your face. Okay, I'm gonna blend my forehead. See how that blends real nice? I always had the hardest time blending my powder contour on top of my mineral makeup because the two different textures didn't really work together. So I had like dry on cream. So I'd always have these lines, and I mean, it looked okay in the mirror, but whenever I look at pictures, I'd be like, ooh, that needs to blend better. It's funny how different we look in real life versus pictures. Sometimes we look better in real life and we don't look good in pictures. Sometimes we look really good in pictures and in real life it's like, okay. So I'm gonna blend here. Now with my nose, the tricky part with the nose is like you don't want it to look like you actually have a line on your nose. It needs to be able to kind of blend in with your skin tone. So I just kind of go back and I pat it in. I do add contour lines all the way up to my brows because of my face shape. So, but I want to leave like a lighter line right down the middle of my nose. But I don't want there to be obvious lines, so I just kind of pat it. Look at that. There we go. All blended. My face looks dewy and moisturized. And if you don't like the super dewy moisturized look, go ahead and use the setting powder. No big deal. If I do use the setting powder on really hot, oily days, I'll do a little bit right here. A little dab right there and a little bit on my chin, but I don't do it under my eyes. I don't do it on my nose. I don't like the matte look on my nose. Just personal preference. All right, so now I'm gonna go back and do blush. And the look just kind of comes together. You see how good that blends? Looks pretty natural. That's what I do like. I love the natural look, even though I'm a high coverage girl. I don't like it to look like I'm wearing a billion layers of makeup. Because I've been there, done that. I don't like it. Okay. So I'm going to do my blush right above the contour line. So like right now, if I just left it, that's a lot of pink. Blend. Blend, 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 blend. Look how good that blends. All cream. Cream just blends together with cream. Now, this makeup goes a long way, especially the blush. And the first few times I used it, I had a really heavy hand on it. So I had to get used to being light-handed when I dipped my brush in the makeup. So I had way too much. And it's super easy to just go back and put more skin color on top of it. You don't have to wipe it off and start back over. So if you do feel like you put too much of one color, hey, just go back with your lighter color and pat it a little bit over it, or just keep blending it. So there we go. How's that look? I like it. Last touch, I'm gonna do my illuminator. So I'm just gonna do it here on my bone right there. One of these days, I think I'm gonna go like buy a fake skull or try to find a real skull and go through like the science of highlighting and contouring and explaining with bone structure why it's a more realistic way of putting on makeup. And once you understand the anatomy of the face and of the bones in your face, it makes total sense, and then it's like dummy proof. I was surprised how much I learned on highlighting and contouring that was consistent with drawing a face too. Really interesting. So I already have like, you know, dewy, shiny skin right there. So I don't put any on my forehead or my chin. But look at that. It's cream all over. Now because it's summer, I do like to go back and do a bronzer. And I am going to use a powder bronzer, but I don't put it on the spots where I normally get wrinkles. So a bronzer, you apply it in spots that aren't exactly the same as contour, although it's kind of similar. You want to put it on the spots where the sun would normally hit your face. So I'm just going to dip my brush in it, just lightly tap it off the excess. Okay, so I put it along all right there. I don't go all the way here on the sides of my forehead like I do with contour, but I'm just gonna lightly pat it right along there. And then I go back over here. So I kind of just like make a C. Make a C. And that's it. It's the only place I put my bronzer. It's super light. I don't even know if you can see it in this light. I can see it in my mirror, but now let's say you do want to use a setting powder. Hey, that's fine. I'll show you where I put it. So with my powder brush, this is what I use for bronzer. I use the smaller one for setting powder. I've got my setting powder tin right there. And I just lightly dab a little bit there. And a little bit right there. Okay? A little bit there. And a little bit there. That's it. Takes me just a couple of minutes to do. I've got it down fast. And I don't know, my skin looks more vibrant, looks more healthy. Working on getting my natural skin more healthy, starting with nutrition and internal diet, stuff like that. But anyway, just trying to keep crap off my face, and there you go. So if you have any questions about cream makeup, go ahead and shoot them to me. Anyway, so yeah, that's just kind of the basics, and I'll go back in a couple of minutes after I feel like everything is set, and I'll use this to just kind of like absorb any excess along my face. This is the Perfector sponge. I get it damp, so I completely saturate it in water, squeeze as much out as I can, and I go back with a paper towel and squeeze it again so it's just damp. It is slightly damp, and that's it. So I'll just show you how I do it. Under my eyes, go there. In case there's any spots where maybe I didn't blend it as much as I could have. Just kind of like a fail safe. And then just kind of pat it all in. And there we go. And then in a couple minutes, I'll spray this on my face to get more SPF and just more setting. And so that's basically how I do my face makeup throughout the day, or for my day. And I don't know, I don't do a whole lot on eyes. I'm not big on hair either. That's the biggest reason why I'm kind of more of a makeup person. It takes me forever to do my hair. I train jujitsu and MMA, kickboxing, all of that a lot, and I don't have time to wash my hair every single day and then style it every day whenever I'm just going to turn around and get it disgusting and covered in other people's sweat and half ripped out. And so my thing is makeup. And I don't wear it when I train. That's a big no-no, girls. If you're jujitsu or anything, you don't wear makeup when you train. You get it on other people's expensive rash guards or gis. Don't do it, because they'll get pissed at you. Anyway, just take your coconut oil with you when you go train. Take your coconut oil, rub it on, maybe a baby wipe it off, get it all off of your skin. And it's not good for your skin to work out with makeup on anyway. But anyway, yeah, let me know if you have any questions. And thanks for watching. Talk to you later.